Today's guest is so near and dear to my heart and was important even before that was an actual fact. Will you please share a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do for the Dirty Divine listeners?
Okay.
Oh, that's true.
Greetings of peace and pleasure. I am Goddess Meaux. I am the goddess of optimism and light. I happen to also be a yoga facilitator and enthusiast. And I am the owner of Solar Flex Wellness, which is all about tapping internally to the things, or more specifically, the root causes of any dis-ease and learning how to co-regulate and balance yourself. And I also am a published erotic author. I have a book on Amazon called Sacred Bliss. And I do a little bit of erotic poetry and sensuality dancing too.
Awesome. And what is a sensuality practitioner? How are the ways that you practice your sensuality?
Well, for me, I never even imagined that I was this. I just operate in this space of everything being pleasurable. So even the things that most people would consider mundane or things they don't want to do, I find a way to enjoy them. So it comes off real flowy, I guess you could say. So if I have to sweep or mop, I'm dancing while I'm doing it, like I'm conjuring, I'm feeling the power that I have within myself. I'm smiling while I'm doing it, and I'm feeling the connection on an energetical level. And because your creativity comes from your sacral, it kind of comes off in a sensual way. Whether I'm walking, whether I'm sitting, if I'm breathing, reading a book, people are always enamored by what it is that they see. And so when I decided to tap more into this side of myself in order to figure out ways to verbiage it, sensuality practitioner happened to come up. And I was like, oh, I guess that little light bulb makes a little sense there. And so I was just coined that this is who I am. And people reach out to me even still to ask questions or ask for guidance or what type of workshops or things am I doing because they see how I'm navigating the world in this space and they want to know how to do it too.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes we get permission from other people by seeing them express their
Absolutely.
authentic like versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can relate to that
I know
that
you can.
feeling. So what does your yoga practice look like and how do you integrate that into your overall like sensuality and like what does it mean for you to be a yogi?
Well, first and foremost, I've never also imagined I would be leading or showing or sharing my yoga practice with anyone. It was a very personal thing for me to have tapped into. Um, when I happened to attract an accident in the early 2000s after moving here to Georgia. After all of the doctors that I saw, like nothing really helped me bridge the gap that I was feeling in my body and in my outside space. And it was like everything was making me, was erupting my nervous system, like a pin dropping, like a bee, like someone closing the door abruptly, everything. I was just like so panicky all the time. And then I happened to come across a yoga DVD. These are the days of the DVDs. And I started to, I watched a video of it and then ended up getting a Wii and it had yoga on it. And this was a time where nobody was doing yoga. I never saw no one, not no one that looked like me, not anyone that didn't look like me. No one was talking about it. No one knew what the fuck yoga was on the grand scheme of things. And so I started to practice in secrecy, you know what I'm saying, by myself after work. I would sit and do whatever things that they told me to do on the Wii game. And it really got me more interested to like look outside into YouTube. And I started following these different channels and like really taking time to allow myself to understand the meaning of the practice. So I went down the rabbit hole of all these documentaries to understand like where did it come from? What is it really doing for me? And learning that the elder yogis of previous times used it for meditation. It wasn't this like aesthetically pleasing thing, and you can stand on your head and you're doing all these things that look real sexual. It had nothing to do with that. It was really you figuring out how to be in stillness, doing these poses and tapping into these different energy centers within yourself. And I didn't understand how anyone could not want to do this after I started to do it. Because when I wasn't doing it, my body was yelling at me. I used to have like, not chronic, but I used to have these pains in my hips that felt like a Charlie horse. And if anyone has ever had a Charlie horse, they fucking suck. And if you've never had one, good for you. But most people have. And if you can imagine, what that feels like in your calf, imagine having that in your hip. And so when I got into yoga, I was learning how to breathe into different spaces in my body, how to be gentle with myself through my healing process, and understanding that I'm still connected to a higher source through all of me. And when I started to practice, and then social media became a thing. Well, social media was already out, but Instagram came out. I want to say I got into it in like 2011, and I got into yoga in 2010. And so this is 2023. And then I started to see challenges, and then I started to see other people, and I started to share my yoga practice because it was something that I had to continue to do, because if I didn't, my body was not okay. And sometimes my mind wasn't okay. Like, to sit in yoga and like sit in the poses and feel what your body's experiencing. It's pleasurable. It can be a little intense sometimes, but so is working out, but it's still good for your heart. It's still good for your mental state.
Yeah.
And then people started to ask me, when am I going to have a class? Or why don't I have a class? And, can I practice with you? And I was just like, oh, this is something that people want to do with me. It was still like, I was still in awe of it. Like, I still be in awe of it even to this day. And so I allowed myself to be sought after, to share my story, share my practice, and why I do it the way that I do, in hopes that more people who look like us and also don't look like us would decide to go deeper into the practice and the history of it, instead of just this overall physical aesthetic, what people look like when they're doing it. What most people look really light skinned and pale, and they look really, really slim. And yoga is for all bodies. There's no shape that cannot do yoga unless you physically cannot do something. And I was happy that more people were coming to me because I'm brown and asking me to share my practice. And then I started to see more people across the globe that was doing it too. And I'm like, this is really beautiful, because it started off with people who look like us. And I'm happy that it's like a full circle. Now people are like, I want to tap back into things that belong to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to, you said about like your mind sometimes not being right if you're not doing your yoga. And I think that's really important for people to understand that for many of us, like the practices that we commit to, their mind, body, soul, purposeful. It's not just about a workout or an exercise regimen. Although working out and exercising are definitely mental health beneficial like practices.
Absolutely.
Like some of us are more sensitive to the fact that we have to maintain this level of like integration of spirit into body, movement, breath, all the things, or we're not okay. And
seriously.
Yeah. And so I think that's really important. Thank you for mentioning that. It's really,
it's like one of my saving graces. It really, I have no idea who or what I would be if I have not allowed myself to attract yoga after attracting such traumatic things to my body.
And yeah, like the things you're describing are literally PTSD, like feeling not connected from your body, feeling disconnected or jarred from like sounds, and being jumpy, feeling flighty, and all these other things that happen. Sometimes people don't understand that when physical trauma happens to us, our body separates from our spirit. So we're sitting there in shock, like what the fuck, and we're people describe it as like
That's
out of body
exactly how I felt. I was
experiences.
like,
So tell us about your book.
I have been writing poetry and practicing poetry for, I can't say the amount of years, I'll be lying, but enough time where I've gotten confident and comfortable, and I love to share the things that happen in my mind. They don't always happen in real life, but they can sound like it. You know, I have a really vivid imagination. And people have asked me for years to come out with a book, and I was still like on the fence, like, do I write this book? How do I write this book? Do I go through a publishing company? How are all the things to make it so?
Mm-hmm.
And although I have like notebooks full of poems, not technically, but if you were to go through all my notes and then also my notebooks, it would probably be stacks. You know, I've been writing since before I moved to Georgia, and I've been down here 16 years. 16 years. So I happened to be engaged at this time to this super phenomenal human being. I don't know if you know who they are. They're divine. And they gave me some tools to look into that I could do it myself. And it was very meticulous because of my perfectionist brain, wherever my Capricorn placements are, and having a Capricorn papa. It took me a minute to do because I wanted to make sure everything would be perfect to me, which I imagine it would be perfect to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I did learning how to work with Canva. I did the choosing of the layout, the format, the letters, the little designs behind. Like, I did everything, and was grateful to have the tool to do it so I could understand. And it was really, really pleasing to do, but also I was happy when it was finally done because I wanted to share, and I've been holding on to this gift for obviously much too long, but people were still asking for it, and it was really, really satisfying to be like, I actually made this. I did all the things. I chose the colors. I did all the stuff. And then my love went and showed me how to post it on Amazon. A lot of little details that people who haven't done it won't understand. So I'm not going to get into the words of what it means. But it was really a wonderful experience to finally have that baby birth. And now people can have my collection, or part of my collection, my first album, you know, with them, and to hear people tell me that they've read it, or see people sharing it on Instagram. And it's just really like a star moment. And it makes me feel really blushy still because I did the thing.
So it's a book of your erotic poetry.
It is.
That's awesome.
One volume.
Yeah. That's awesome. If you only follow on Spotify and you only listen to the podcast and you don't keep up with me on social media, you may have missed the fact that I got married to this lovely goddess who's on our show. So at the time we were engaged, and we recently were married in October of this year, 23, in Mexico. What's your experience with, one, being with someone like myself, and can you share a little bit about your BDSM and your kink journey, and just talk about our relationship for people who may not be familiar with us?
Firstly, let me say, to be with you would take longer than probably the amount of time that we have. So I will sum it up in the best ways that I can.
Yes.
To have attracted you was not what I thought would happen, because I didn't think that I was in your realm of needs or wants. You didn't know me, so these are just thoughts I'll be having with myself. But then I started to see that you were checking for me because you would like things and when I hadn't done stuff in a while. And I realized you were looking at me like how I was looking at you. And it was piquing my curiosity. And to have met you in person at a venue where I've frequented at and never saw you there I was awestruck. That's why I stopped the show so I can, chat with you, hug you, and, let you know that I like you.
Wait, I'm gonna jump in here. So our physical meeting was at um, a spoken word poetry, erotic poetry event where Goddess Mo was one of the featured performers there monthly. And I just happened to be there in celebration of someone who I was connected to at the time. And I went on stage to do my poem. No, I think I sang that night. It's all poetry, but I sang a song that I wrote. And that's what you meant. You stopped the show. So I'll let you take back over.
No worries. Yeah, so that happened. This was December 3rd, 2020. And I didn't see you again until December 17th, 18th, or 18th, 19th, the same 2020, when you invited me to a kinky kickback. And I had never been to nothing that you did. I didn't know that you were even in Georgia for real. I just knew that I could see you on Instagram, and it was pleasing for me. So when you invited me, I didn't really have an idea about anything. I just knew I wanted to come to your party. I wanted to be in your space. I wanted to have intimate energy shared with you, and to see you again. And it was. I remember there was an instrumentalist and there was a singer who we both happen to know that was playing there, and I didn't know how many people that you knew that I also knew. So like these little winks from the universe were real cute. And all I remember is that I was like dancing to this song, Angel, and then my friends who were with me were like, "Mom, you gotta stop dancing because it's a thing about to happen." And it was you walking sexily down, the middle of this room to someone that was bent over a bench, and you were about to do a demo with them. But this is before I had the words for what I was watching. I just knew the music was on and it was my shit, and I was over here doing my thing. And then it was something else that was about to happen because I didn't think anyone knew that song. Because it's like, if you know, you know. If you don't know Massive Attack, you don't know Massive Attack. But if you know, then there's certain songs that make you have to do something to them. And so I sat down and just watched what you were doing, and I was like, "Well, this is beautiful." You used your hands, you used bloggers, and it was like really amazing. And when you got done, someone came up to you and took what you had out of your hands. Another person came and wiped down the bench. Like all these things just happened, and you were just there being yourself. And I was like, "This is fucking sexy shit." Like, who is this person that I am charmed by? And, like, how can I further be down?
Thank you. Were you like, did you identify as kinky before then? Like, what was your experience with BDSM?
I've definitely been kinky since before I probably had the words for it. Um, I would go to the Sex Down Self conference and interact with different classes that were there and learn different people. And I've been in some environments where I visually partake in some things, and but I had never been to something that was very tastefully done. Not that anything wasn't not tasteful, but it was a certain energy that was there at your space, and it was really captivating for me. And then I was learning more about you. I was already reading about you. I was learning more about you through our conversations and learning about your position as a pro-dominant and what that looked like in your everyday life. And then coming to see you have performances and seeing what you did live. And I was like, wow, this is really hot, number one. And it was just beautiful to see you and your other ways of you and your power. And then we started to spend more time together. And that's when Sensual Cypher started.
Mm-hmm.
And we happened to go out of town. You gave me a spanking at Sensual Cypher, and everybody was like all the rave. I was way somewhere else in my mind, and I was like, oh shit, I'm hosting. I got to come back over here to be present because I had lost track of awareness for a second, and I understood how people could be in that space. Because I would never say I was a bottom for nobody. Even though I enjoy pleasure happening to me, I never put myself in that situation. I never attracted anything that I had ever experienced with you. Several cherries popped and several more to go, I imagine. And when we went out of town to Florida, you asked me to bottom for you. He was like, can I tie you up and like, do some sensation and some hand drumming? And I was like, of course. I wasn't going to not allow myself.
We were already connected at that point, like where I felt comfortable. I think my submissive at the time was just, we were falling out of harmony with each other because like I was falling in love with you, and it was hard for people to see that and want that and not have access to me in that way anymore, because that person at some point was also my girlfriend, but like I had set that boundary because, as you know, I'm a gentle and sensitive heart, and I need a lot of care. And there were lines blurred between like our vanilla relationship and, well, that didn't exist in that scenario. A lot of people think that you're my submissive, and it's definitely not true. Like, you bottom for me, and like while you might submit in bed or whatever, you're definitely my equal in our relationship. And especially more so, I think, now that we're married, where I've given more allowance for like who you are to me, and like the ways that I can allow you to like really truly be my equal in that way, and not just in theory. So
good job.
Yeah, Mo is not a submissive. And not that I ever tried to like dominate you or no shit like that.
No, it was a willing thing. There was never like a conversation like, hey, I'm this. Would you like to be this? It's just the way our energies flow with each other. It's the way that they've always been, probably through all other times and dimensions that we've been together. And it was just easy. I felt safe. That's the first thing. I felt safe. You're really knowledgeable about a lot of things, so I knew I could ask you questions about things and not feel weird, And so having the safety to not feel weird, and then having your brilliant mind know so many things because of your life experiences, it piques a curious mind, And so I was learning about this, and then I remember when you did like the ABCs of kink, and I'm like learning all these really structured words and avenues and experiences that I didn't even know that I could have. And so it was definitely putting the not just having experiences and not knowing what the words are or how to feel or how to express.
Yeah.
I was already going through and having experiences before I met you with different things, but I never was with an educator in that way, or with someone who lived in a lifestyle all the time. So it'd be like, I might go to this party and see some things like once a month or type shit, but it wasn't anything that was consistent. And so getting with you and then like having conversations and learning more, I'm like, oh, I can be this thing. And to be with you and share like some of our passion on stage just became like very desirable for myself. And I think you too, and for people watching us. And it just became like our normal thing. Like I seduce you, you wrap me up, and we showcase parts of ourselves.
So yeah, I like that description. A little short summary of it. A lot more happens during those things, especially like the energetic exchange. So yes, exhibitionism is one of my kinks, and I do enjoy. It's either if I don't, or I'm either hermit or I'm exhibitionist, and I
No
think
in
you know
between.
that. Yeah. So now that you have more words, because right, you're learning about BDSM and studying like femdom and goddess on earth type of life. What are your kinks now that you have a little more verbiage? What are some of your kinks? You don't have to list them all because I know your freaky ass would be here all day.
All
But
day.
what are your more popular or your more outstanding or kinks that you would say if you had to list your favorites?
Favorites. Favorites is a stretch. I'm gonna list some of them because all of them are favorites to me,
Okay.
depending on who I am in that space and like listening. Um, Also, I have a podcast too where you can listen to my erotic poetry. Anyway, when I write poems, it is partly from the things that I've experienced. So I enjoy if someone can dominate me. It's a rare situation, but I enjoy because I'm so big. I'm this alpha female, and I'm used to taking care, and I like being put in my place. I like to, be choked up and have a lot of sensations happen to my physical body. I love to be bitten. I love to bite. I love to. I'm a big person when it comes to primal play. That's super fun for me because I get to get a lot of energy off of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am a big cat, so I like to, curl up in a lap and be pet and lick and, be told what to do in certain aspects. I do enjoy orgasm denial, and I do enjoy butt stuff, and I do enjoy mm, being able to top my lover if they decide to allow me to traverse their body in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like becoming more versed in femdom stuff, I'm learning how to pick choice words while I'm experiencing my power play with people because there was a lot of parts of the verbiage that I didn't understand before, but it was always there. Like just how I navigate the world is very much I'm this and people may be beneath me energetically and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now since being with you, I have experienced people physically, being beneath me and learning how to own that power is a little bit different than not having the foundation in order to really be there. So I've learned a lot more about how to like firmly own that space and that energy. So when people come to me, they already know. If you're greeting me for the first time, you're gonna more than likely kiss my hand. You don't
Mm-hmm.
get an automatic introduction to my physical body. Unless you're like a friend of mine or doing some type of healing work, I'm probably going to engage in a hug with you. But if you're coming to me for some type of BDSM experience, you have to honor the fact that I'm above you and you get this hand. That's our greeting. That's what you're going to do. And you love it and you're welcome. And you can pay me for that.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I know that with being an erotic artist, like in this instance, some of that is film. And you have done we have done a few
Mm-hmm.
uh erotic short films, if you will.
Yes.
What's that like and what was your experience? Because it wasn't something you were doing before us. So
It was not. And although I do love to make videos of myself. I like to see how I look when I do different things to me. I like how I sound. I like to see myself. I'm very much aroused by myself. And then I never thought I would be making any type of short films, if you will. with anyone. I just
Porn. It's porn.
I just would take myself. And if you were my lover or if you're someone that I'm engaging with, you know what I'm saying, I would share videos with other people, but it wasn't anything that was for anyone who wasn't a part of my pleasure. It wasn't just for people that wanted to see it. If we haven't shared that energy, just get to use your imagination. Read my poems and let it take you wherever you're going to go.
Yeah.
And also while we were learning more about each other in this lifetime, the idea of capturing ourselves came up, and I played with the idea of it, and I was never nervous. I just wanted it to be a reflection of who I really am. So it took time to get to even showing off my full body naked, because that's just not who you. It's a very special thing for you to see me in that light. But having you as my partner, was safe, is safe. And our friend Brian,
Black Touch, shout out.
He made sure that I was okay with all the things that were happening, showing the angles, making sure that I didn't feel that any of my boundaries were overstepped, and all of them were and have always been majorly cared for and honored, and that makes it me want to do the things. And to see what we captured was still like so beautiful. I love to dance for you. That's the first thing. I love to turn you on. I love to feel your eyes on me and your energy inside me. And I love to feel the extension of you through rope, which is why I love being your rope big cat, because I'm not a bunny.
Right. No. I don't call rope buddies bunnies anyway. Like, unless you're a bunny, like their bottoms are models. But yeah.
Yes. So, I didn't know what would happen. I just knew it was going to be organic. And watching the film, seeing the smirks on your face, seeing them on my own, making love to you and having someone see it and be there to capture it, to capture these angles that I didn't think that I would be able to capture because I'm in the thrills of it, was really, really beautiful. And I'm glad that I popped that chair with you, because I know that it can stand the test of time, and it doesn't go against any personal boundaries that I have, that we have. And it is so, the angles and the energy are very much felt. People still, if they have seen it recently, will say, hey, I saw you guys on, the old Black Touch. And what you captured was beautiful. And I think it's the authenticity that we have with one another. It's not like we had to try to perform.
Right.
Now we share performances, but it's still authentic energy that gets captured. So to make those films with you, it was just another night in paradise.
Love that. I think that was important for me too, because before us, I had done film. I had like some I had like a channel on Pornhub.
I would have
but it was never my face. It was just very much like niche, specific. I know it's gonna like get views in this particular niche. So even though I don't identify as lesbian, it was lesbian like tribbing. And so very much close-ups of like me getting rode and like just close-ups of, you're not seeing any bodies, you're going to hear. I think towards the very end, I might have shown my like body because I was doing like a birthday spanking or some shit like that. But it wasn't about that. It was just smut. It was just like a couple $100 a month from very little effort, just like lunch money. But with us, and also moving forward into things that I will be producing, because I love to be behind the camera as well. And I'm going to be working on a project where I'm directing more erotica. But for me, it's about the sensuality of it. I want to shoot fine art. I want to give those vibes, like, when you were younger and you're first watching maybe a movie that had sex scene in it, and it was just so fucking arousing. It might not even, it's not even always passionate, but it didn't necessarily always show everything, but the energy was there, and it was like I want to make film that it should be like this. It's like if you snap this scene out of a feature film, this is just a sex scene, but it looks like it's a movie. And I think that's what I love about Black Touch. Also, it's like the intentionality. Ryan is a
Yes.
genius. The intentionality behind like each shot, the lighting, the vibe, even if there's a story told, because we did do that one role play.
Yes,
It's
we
still
did.
done in a way that's like it still feels very realistic. It's like real scenarios and not just like fetishized black bodies being
Right.
exploited for
Never felt
smut.
that way. Never felt that way.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful, one, to have such a beautiful partner to create with, but also that the people that we choose to shoot with are ethical and are centering one, black bodies, but the pleasure that happens in like real life. So yeah, I love making high art, like fine art and erotic content. What's your favorite scene that we've done together?
Favorite scene?
I think we have what, 3 on Black Touch?
3.
Not those things that we do for our other projects.
Um, the second one.
That was at my loft, the top down. Yeah, that
The
one's the
body
one.
drumming, the first,
Yeah.
the breathing. We breathed and connected.
Right, we had our tantric moment at the beginning.
And then he did body drumming on me,
Mm-hmm.
which was like, there's this one time when you're like swinging my feet and then down my body to my butt, but like the energy that was coming was just like, I was wailing around in my mind, I had to be still.
I like that.
It was beautiful.
That's the one of the first ones that I kind of took a more of a like creative directing input or just had some ideas to play with. And that's what I love about Brian. He was like open to receiving my ideas. And like, I wanted that classic, it was from Belly, that when it was like the God's eye view or the bird's eye view of like Tommy fucking Keisha and this light was just hitting them. And it's just fucking classic. So we had the opportunity, time and space to do that. I was like, you know what? Creative lighting is my shit. And the way that he pulled it off. Mwah. So like that's my goal. It's like it's hard to just go set up a camera, shoot some amateur porn when you know like the level of high quality that can exist with just some intention. So I like that.
Was that your favorite one too?
Would you like that top down? That one was fun. The being strangers and doing the role play was fun. That same one is my favorite visually. The first one was my favorite energetically because there were some surprises in there. Like we were still getting to know each other, and it was the excitement. Like I remember we went to like my polycule's house when we got the previews back, and we're like, y'all, we put this big ass fucking porn on the big screen, and these are my family. Like they know who I am. Like my polycule, and chosen family, but like they've never necessarily watched a porn that I made because I never made any porn that was like, hey, this is a film. So
that was the first
it was pretty exciting.
Like I did not know that.
In the erotic, like in that, like fucking, like not just. Well, one of the persons there would like, he had permission. He'd seen me fuck before, like in real life. Because like when I used to like co-house with them, cohabitate, where my bed was, it was in this loft area, and he had to go to his room he had to go through mine to get to his space sometimes. And I ever told him like, hey, if you see me and I got the hose over here or whatever, like I don't mind. Exhibitionist box, right? Check that. So it's not like he hadn't seen me in that light, but the way it was, I think you read poetry in that one too. Like you danced for me. Yes. Then we did our living room scene. While I read poetry. Then like you read the poetry. It was dope. So then the third one that we did with the role play, that one was the funnest, right? So we got the first one was most energetic and exciting. The second one was most visually stimulating and beautiful. And the third one, it was just the most fun. Like taking on a new character, staying in character, um, and then just like having that role play. If you haven't seen these scenes yet, I do advise you to check them out on blacktouch.com.
Yeah.
It's BLKTOUCH. And I love them and all the scenes that they shoot. We definitely have a membership and we need to use it because I like watching porn with you also, and
I
kind
like
of
watching
like
porn with you
looking
too.
at other people, and it's a lot of people that we're friends with, and some people we have connections to. So that's always fun. I do want
I'm
to
free later.
ask. Okay, date night, a
Mm-hmm.
little porn and chill, if you
Porn
will,
and chill, if you will.
erotica.
Yes.
I wanted to know if you would grace the listeners and viewers with um an erotic poem of your choosing. If you have that type of
Oh,
energy, I know you're being put on the spot. We didn't talk
yes,
about
we did
this.
not. I do like when you put me on the spot.
I know you do.
You don't know me. You do not know me. Okay, first let me drink some water. Watch yourself.
I do know you just a little bit. I continue to learn you more and more every day.
Okay. I will do a favorite, audience favorite.
Okay.
And
You need an ad lib? Can I hype you up? Like, if I know the words?
you know what? You do, because every time I perform it, you
I
hype me up.
know. That's why I'm like, can
Oh,
I?
you know which one I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay, good
I'm just going to do
job.
this one part. This one
Okay.
fave. Okay.
I'm trying to give out some delicious pussy tonight. I need you to be ready to dive tongue first into my ambrosia delight. This is not your pronouns, but this is the poem that I wrote before.
Just say the poem.
Suck on Mo, girl, and please put on a fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
Eat me like it's your last meal, and you got to do it real slow. Let me see what that mouth do one time. Turn me around and eat my yoni from behind. Sloppy top me. And whatever you do, baby, please don't stop. Let my magical elixirs moisturize your skin. And fuck tapping out my love. I need you to tap in. Let me gloss those lips like coconut oil on some beautiful brown skin.
Mm.
I want to come so bad. But I ain't playing for keeps. I just want the opportunity to come for you in and out your sheets. Dial me back and put this queen on repeat. Why don't you send me a car and let's meet at a bar? I'll wear that dress you like so I can flash you from afar. And of course, I'm gonna play hard to get, 'cause no one has to know that you are already getting a sip. And after drink number 2, shit, we can most certainly dip. I wanna take it all off. I wanna feel your hands on my hips. Now, peppermint soap those lovely digits. I need to feel at least 2 of them hit my A spot real quick. And I know, I'm too legit to quit. And you are in love with all of it. But just remember, I don't want to be kept, not just one bit. I want to bust in your pretty mouth. And I also want to get me a hit. So, have you ever had sex with a goddess with a glass dick? Oh, you haven't? Well, shit. Let's try it real quick. I aim to please, and I promise to make you come real hard for me. And when we're through, no one has to know but me or you. I don't need you telling your friends because they're going to want some too.
Yes, goddess. So where can wait before that? So what's next for you? Like what projects are you working on? In your current path, journey?
I am simultaneously working on figuring out how to make my workshops more virtual and also working on my second volume of erotica. And then also, more so, firstly, me and my now esposito.
Me?
Yes, you are looking for our wellness center. Yes, one of the first conversations that we had when we got together was the fact that I am having a wellness center, and you're like, I'm in a wellness. And then we just shared all the different modalities that we both do and continue to grow through. And after we have birthed and cohabitated so many other spectrums of ourselves, we're being pulled to put more energy into these things, especially with all the things that's going on in the globe.
Mm-hmm.
We need to continue to raise the vibrations of everyone, starting with ourselves.
Yes.
And having that center is going to be one of the seeds that gets dropped to, help spring off in all directions, the magnificence of healing and well-being internationally, globally, spiritually, supergalactically, because it is time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am grateful for the gestation period of being able to learn you, for you to learn me, so we know what our strengths are and our areas where we need help. I would never call them weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be a beautiful space. And we are still, learning the grids of the land to make sure we find a space that is ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited because this has been sitting on my heart before the book, before sharing the yoga. Like I knew that I needed to have a wellness center. I knew that I needed to have these practices to give back to people who look like us because it wasn't a part of my childhood or a lot of other people's. We didn't learn how to co-regulate, heal, use natural things. That was very, if it was something that was going on, it was like hush hush and quietly kept. And now on the broader scheme of things, it's like in your face, and I want to be a part of the in your face.
I love that.
Well, I am. We are a part of the in your face.
Yes.
Change those words.
Where can people find you if I wanted to do yoga or get some of your erotic poetry or just look at you? What would I do?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can follow me a lot of different ways. If you want to book me for now, you can just send me an email at luxgoddess@gmail. LUXE goddess GODIS @gmail.com. If you happen to follow me on social media, you can follow me at Lux Godis _Meaux on Instagram. So it's LUXGODIS _MEAUX. You can also find me as Lady Lux on FetLife if you are interested in being my financial sub. Mm-hmm. If you want to put your money in my piggy bank where it belongs, I welcome your time and energy and coins. Thank you.
Yeah.
And in the ethers, you can always, just if you think about me while you're in the middle of meditation, whatever that may look like for you, you can imagine me being showered with the abundance and prosperity that is due to me and my love. And yeah, And if you happen to be local to Atlanta, because that's where I currently live, that's where we currently live, because we're jet setting all over.
For now.
We're jet setting all over. I co-host an aftercare Sunday with you that pops up in different spaces. And if you want that live yoga for that, you can absolutely come to one of those spaces or write me in my DM if you want a private lesson. But if you're trying to book me to perform, please start in my DM, because I'm always ready and willing to share my erotica and my sensual dancing on a stage, because it's fun for me.
As long as you have that fee. Like, I have to stress that as the manager of that project. No, I'm just playing.
No, don't play.
I'm not playing about that, but
Yeah.
I don't manage all your shit. But I love the ways that we assist each other in this in our businesses separately and collectively.
Okay.
Thank you, Goddess, for your time and energy. I'm so grateful to have finally had the time, space, and opportunity to sit and chat with you. And based on what people are asking me, I feel like more of this is needed and wanted, desired. We do have our mutual space, divine moments, like we put our names together. And if you're looking for that on Instagram, it's divine, DIVINE. Is it an underscore?
It's
dot.
It's the.
Oh, THE.
It's all the way through.
E.
Divine.
Divine. Moments is spelled MEAUX MENTS.
Yes.
And I have to say this. It's not Mew. I joke with her about that, and I call her Mew when I'm teasing her, because people that have never met her, or maybe even like, I don't know.
It's called Mo. That's why my name on Facebook is Mo.
It's like
Mo.
French, but people know that ho, when you spell it HEAUX, it's still ho. Like, people know ho, but they say Mew. And it just fucks with me. So it's not Mew. It's Mo. It used to be Mo the Muse. So maybe that is what confused people.
Right, because they didn't know how to say Mo. So
Mew the Muse. Mew the Muse.
They would just call me Muse because they couldn't say Mo. But I mean, if you were to watch a video of me and I'm saying it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a learning curve for some people, but you have just enlightened the folks, and I'm grateful.
Whatever you call her, don't call her single though. But nah, we are ethically non-monogamous, consensually non-monogamous.
Yes. You're so cute.
Although it's we are into each other a lot, so
you would have to be doing some real phenomenal stuff if you're trying to share in this space.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're not welcoming. We just have high standards.
Yeah. This dick ain't free either.
No, it's not. I pay for it.
You pay for it in love.
I pay for it in pussy.
I love that. So I'm going to close it down now.